Breaking news, Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark is out for a minimum of 2 weeks. That's according to ESPN. The former Iowa Hawkeye star is suffering a left quad strain.
No, man.
Caitlin Clark's recent injury isn't just bad luck. It's raising serious questions. After being targeted relentlessly in her last 3 games, the star is now sidelined with an injury that feels suspicious to many fans and analysts alike. Is this a coincidence? Or is there something more sinister at play? The controversy is brewing, with supporters demanding answers and the league under scrutiny. As tensions mount, everyone's left wondering, who's really behind this, and what does it mean for the future of the game?
What happened?
Steph, do you know when Caitlin's injury happened?
I don't know when it happened. I know afterwards, we got a message that she had something going on with her leg, and they were getting an MRI, and then we got the news yesterday.
Was it after the Liberty game on Saturday?
Is that our last game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So Caitlin Clark is out, and fans are furious, absolutely furious with the organization of the Indiana Fever. And it is, again, we don't know. The Indiana Fever could be on the money, but something sounds fishy. Something sounds fishy. And it seems like, it does not seem like anything is working out at all right now for the Indiana Fever. After a 2-2 start, they've now lost their best player for 2 weeks.
Caitlin Clark, the shining star of the WNBA, the league's biggest draw, and the reason many now know the Indiana Fever's name, is suddenly out. The so-called Golden Goose is injured, sidelined, and benched, not due to accidental falls or celebratory slips, but because she's been targeted relentlessly on the court. Fans are shocked, and critics are questioning whether her injuries are the result of intentional play. Clark's absence feels like a huge blow to the league's momentum, raising concerns about fairness and the game's integrity.
They got some bad news following Saturday's close home loss to the New York Liberty. That's because Caitlin Clark, who has not missed a game the entire season, has not missed a game even in college, she's going to miss some time, at least a couple of weeks. Then she will be reevaluated after sustaining a left quad strain, a slight tear in her left quad. It is a new injury, they say, not the same injury that she was dealing with in preseason.
And this is going to send shockwaves throughout the W, because no one thought Caitlin Clark was hurt at all. We all thought this was just low management. We all thought this was really something. And for Caitlin Clark to be out for 2 weeks led us to believe something must have happened in that New York Liberty game that forced Caitlin Clark to go to the doctor to possibly get x-rays.
3 consecutive games, no coincidence, but a deliberate pattern. Opposing teams seem to have made a calculated choice. If you can't outplay Caitlin Clark, then take her out of the game entirely. It's a strategy rooted in frustration, aiming to diminish her impact and reduce the league's visibility. Instead of facing her talent, they target her physically, hoping to make her regret leaving Iowa. It's a troubling trend, suggesting that some teams prefer to silence her rather than compete against her. Clark's resilience is now being tested like never before.
Well, Malika, what we've been told so far by the team is that this is actually an injury that was separate from the quad tightness issue, as Caitlin Clark described it earlier in the preseason, that she dealt with before. So it's a little bit of an interesting situation given that it was the same leg, but the team is saying it is actually a new injury.
She enters a league where every opponent appears to have perfected the art of physicality, specifically aimed at stopping her. It's as if a silent agreement exists: either dominate by scoring or overpower her with force. Clark finds herself right in the middle of this brutal game, demonstrating that success isn't just about talent, but also about endurance. She's fighting through the relentless aggression, showing that breaking through isn't only about skill, but also about resilience and survival amid the chaos. Her toughness is being tested like never before.
Big news just released by the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark has suffered a quad injury, and she's going to be out for a minimum of 2 weeks. Really bad news for people going to games at home hoping to see Caitlyn.
It's as if they handed out bounty slips in the locker room. Target Caitlin Clark, put her in a body cast, and we call it a victory. The plays resemble a chaotic wrestling match more than basketball. Elbows flying, shoulders launching like missiles, defenders fouling relentlessly. It's clear the strategy is to physically dominate her, risking more fouls than a toddler testing boundaries. Now she's sidelined for 2 weeks, which in WNBA terms might as well be 2 years. The league has heavily relied on her talent, her grit, her resilience. Her absence leaves a massive void, exposing how much her presence truly drives the game forward.
The WNBA got to clean up the officiating, man. All these fouls, all this hacking going on, y'all ain't blowing no whistles. She don't get to the free throw line, bro. This is why y'all got to start calling fouls, man. Now, look, there's random injuries popping up.
You'd expect a league struggling for attention to do everything possible, maybe even craft a bubble wrap suit for its star player, the one who can trend on Twitter without any controversy. But instead of safeguarding her like their most valuable asset, they threw her back onto the court like a crash test dummy and let the veterans take their shots. The real issue is glaring, yet no one dares to admit it: jealousy. Caitlin Clark arrives in the league armed with a Nike deal, record-shattering college stats, and more camera flashes than a red carpet event. Her rising star threatens the established order, and rather than embracing her talent, some seem more intent on bringing her down, revealing a deeper insecurity within the league itself.
So up until the 14th, I do see these games against the Sun and against the Mystics and against the Sky as winnable games. But if anything, this should be a lesson to the league and a lesson to the officiating, because the amount of contact that is allowed without a foul call and the amount of physicality that Caitlin Clark has to battle through being double teamed and triple teamed, and honestly, it's mostly just not being called for these fouls, needs to be assessed. Caitlin Clark is the league's star player, whether you like it or not. It shows in the bottom line. It shows in the revenue. It shows in the viewership numbers. Every which way you turn, it shows. And as the league star player, she should not be bullied around or ragdolled, just pushed around like she is. There is an undeniable disparity in the officiating. I mean, think about the Kobe whistle in the NBA. No one touched him without an issue. I remember Draymond Green saying if anything happened to Steph, Draymond Green would get up in a player's face.
Meanwhile, some of these seasoned players in the league have been around for a decade but couldn't sell out their own family reunion. Instead of rising to the challenge, they've chosen to play bumper cars with Caitlin Clark's knees, turning what should be tough defense into targeted aggression. This isn't just rough play. It's intentional, calculated intimidation disguised as toughness. Caitlin tries to run her plays, but her defenders seem more like auditioning for the next Fast and Furious movie, turning every possession into a contact sport flashback. It's like stepping into the Thunderdome. First one to injure Clark wins a bonus and a fruit basket. It's astonishing how quickly the WNBA managed to fumble this opportunity. They had one job: protect their star. That's basic, not rocket science. Now, the league's viewership is plummeting faster than a dunk attempt gone wrong. The truth is, whether they admit it or not, the Caitlin Clark effect is real. Without her, the league is left with a hollow product, one that's inadvertently undermining its own marketing campaign with elbows, ego, and poor protection of its marquee player. If the league truly wants to grow, they need to safeguard their biggest asset, because right now they're doing the opposite and it's hurting everyone involved.
I wanted to share with you guys an article that I found that honestly gives us so much insight into the WNBA referees, how they are hired, how much they make, and there's one section that really stood out to me, and they break down essentially why they are making the calls that they make, and they also talk about the influx of new fans flooding to the WNBA. They talk about Caitlin Clark a little bit. This article to me was really telling. It actually came out in January, but it was published by SB Nation, and it's entitled How WNBA Referees Are Scouted, Trained, and Held Accountable Explained.
Let's be real. If the WNBA is counting on Caitlin Clark to bring in viewers, and they definitely are, The fact that she's now sidelined is like Netflix losing Stranger Things just days before the new season drops. The show may still go on, but viewers aren't hitting play with the same excitement. The league should be scrambling for rule changes, stricter officiating, or even creative solutions like bubble wrap, anything to keep her healthy and on the court without turning every game into a gladiator fight. Instead, there's silence, crickets. It's akin to watching a soap opera where the lead star gets kidnapped and the producers just shrug, hoping the audience won't notice the missing star amid the chaos. Meanwhile, the WNBA has been gradually gaining momentum. Interest was bubbling, like a soda can left in the sun, with casual fans starting to tune in, sponsors tentatively making appearances, and streaming numbers climbing. But all that progress evaporated the moment Caitlin Clark went down. When the league's MVP is injured, the casual fans who tune in for the star quickly retreat. It's no surprise. Without her on the floor, the WNBA feels less like a cultural event and more like a niche league struggling to maintain relevance. If the league truly wants to grow, they must protect their biggest star or risk losing the audience they've worked so hard to build.
As well, and of course, a lot of blame should go to both Kathy Engelbert as the WNBA commissioner, spineless herself, and the players on the other teams because of their absolute irrational hatred and jealousy, their petty emotionalism, because they can't get out of their feels. So they were decided that what they're going to do is beat up Caitlin Clark by constantly clutching, grabbing, pushing, pulling, elbowing, and everything.
It's almost like the league forgot that a star isn't just someone who scores points, but someone who draws in the crowd. When you lose that player to injury because other teams treat her like a demolition target, it's not just bad luck, it's poor management. And by management, I mean everyone involved, from league officials to referees, who should have been quick to blow the whistles and enforce protectiveness. Now, imagine a parallel universe where the NBA allows its top players to be roughed up without repercussions. You think the league would turn a blind eye? Not a chance. They'd be on the phone with coaches, refs, and security, all tightening protocols like airport TSA lines. So why does the WNBA get a different standard? Oh, right, because it's a different league, which apparently means players can be treated like piñatas and nobody raises an eyebrow. That double standard isn't just unfair, it's damaging. If the league truly wants to grow and retain its star players, it must prioritize their safety and respect. Before losing them costs the entire league its relevance.
And this is such a bummer because the Fever were off to a great start this season. Caitlin Clark was playing out of her mind. She had already broken some records in the first 3 games, and now she's going to be sidelined for 2 weeks. We'll see how the team will hold up without her. Obviously, she's the primary ball handler, playmaker, and shot maker. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can sustain and just hold even at 500 or better, and she can get back and keep them in playoff contention. So I'll keep you guys updated if any more news is released, but as of now, she is out 2 weeks with a left quad injury.
Let's be clear. No one is suggesting Caitlin Clark is fragile or in need of bubble wrap. She's a fierce competitor, a warrior. But even warriors benefit from rules designed to keep the game fair and safe. Her current absence sends a glaring red flag across the league. If you want growth, you must protect your stars. Otherwise, you're building a fragile house of cards that's destined to collapse. What's the league's plan now? Hope fans forget Caitlin Clark exists? Or pretend someone else can easily fill her shoes? That's like saying, oh, the Mona Lisa is gone? No problem. Here's a painting of a potato. It simply doesn't work. The WNBA has a choice. Double down on protecting its marquee players or watch fans drift away to other leagues or sports that seem safer and more respectful. If they don't prioritize star safety, they risk losing the audience that's just beginning to tune in. And that's a future no league can afford.
It goes without saying that Caitlin Clark being injured is a tough blow for the Indiana Fever and the WNBA as a whole, really. As the Fever announced, Caitlin Clark has a quad strain, will be out at least 2 weeks. Of course, she was dealing with the quad tightness in the preseason, missed the first exhibition contest, and obviously had been laboring at times to start the year. The Fever now without their offensive engine. The silver lining, I suppose, is that Aaliyah Boston is playing the best basketball of her career. The team can work on integrating some of its new pieces when clearly with Clark without the ball, since she won't be in the lineup, and they have an easier stretch coming up of games against lesser opponents than they faced thus far. But
it's not just about the fans. What about the players themselves? The rest of the roster watches their league's brightest star get hammered without consequence, and it sends a dangerous message. No one is truly safe. That kind of thinking undermines the very foundation of building a competitive and sustainable league. Here's a radical idea. Impose stricter penalties on teams that engage in blatant targeting. Maybe a few technical fouls, hefty fines, or even suspensions for repeat offenders who turn the game into a contact sport version of bumper cars. If the league wants players to respect the WNBA, it must start by respecting the stars who make the league worth watching. Until then, the league becomes like a band just one member away from stardom, but losing key players to injuries that aren't properly addressed. Every time a star gets sidelined, it feels like the league's big marketing push loses its headline act. You keep hoping for a breakthrough, but each blink reveals another player down, and the spotlight dims a little more. Caitlin Clark's absence is a stark reminder that the league's most valuable assets are being treated like punching bags rather than prized commodities. If the WNBA truly wants to grow, it must prioritize star safety and respect. Otherwise, viewers will simply stop watching and move on. And who can blame them?
We saw a lot of stuff in the breakdown I did on the officiating with Caitlin Clark and the non-calls against the New York Liberty. And guess what? When you are constantly beating up a player like that, injuries are more likely to happen. This is on you, WNBA. This is on the players. This is on spineless Kathy Engelbert for allowing this absolute crap show, which is what it is. The officiating has been repulsive. The conduct by the other players has been rough.
Imagine the absurdity of the WNBA acting surprised when their star player gets blitzed and injured. It's like watching someone open the fridge, find no milk, and then act shocked. Of course, if you keep throwing your best player into the meat grinder, she's eventually going to get hurt. Meanwhile, it seems teams are running drills on how to take down Caitlin Clark without getting called for foul 101. They've perfected it so well that referees might as well carry stopwatches just to time the relentless hits. The dedication to targeting her borders on performance art, except the art is called ruining a league's chances at mainstream success. And let's talk about the referees. If the WNBA truly wants to be taken seriously, maybe they should start calling fouls beyond, "Oh, there was slight contact but no big deal." Because this isn't rugby, it's basketball. The fact that officials are letting these targeting plays slide like it's a neighborhood pickup game is either hilarious or tragic, possibly both. The league's inability to enforce basic foul calls not only undermines the integrity of the game, but also signals a dangerous tolerance for dangerous play. It's high time the league steps up and protects its players, or risk losing viewers who are tired of watching stars get injured without repercussions.
And as the league star player, she should not be bullied around or ragdolled, just pushed around like she is. There is an undeniable disparity in the officiating. I mean, think about the Kobe whistle in the NBA. No one touched him without an issue. I remember Draymond Green saying if anything happened to Steph, Draymond Green would get up in a player's face. That's not to say that there shouldn't be fairness in the officiating. Yes, Caitlin Clark should be called for fouls, but the fairness is what is being disputed here, in that she is being pushed around and not being calling, and that only hurts the league. It only hurts the eyes on the league because she is the star player. Like in the Atlanta game, it almost seemed like the strategy was to just like hack them and like kind of get up in Caitlin Clark's face by like all the hand checks and things that just were not called. So hopefully this is a wake-up call to the league.
If you're a casual fan tuning into a WNBA game because you heard about Caitlin Clark's incredible highlights, what are you supposed to do when she's knocked out cold after 3 games of being treated like a piñata? Chances are you'll change the channel. That's what will happen. It's like going to a concert and the lead singer gets pulled off stage by a rowdy crowd. You wouldn't stick around for the backup singer's karaoke rendition. The league is sitting on a gold mine with Caitlin Clark, yet their approach seems to be, meh, let her get roughed up, no big deal. Let's be honest, the WNBA has momentum. More viewers, more sponsors, more hype. But momentum is fragile. Drop the ball once, and you risk losing the crowd. Clark's injury is like the league repeatedly dropping that ball. If this is the league's strategy for growth, then the investor meetings must be quite the spectacle. Without protecting their stars, the league's future looks shaky at best.
Weeks isn't that bad, but this is a player who did not miss a game her entire college career or last year as a rookie. The first game she missed playing in was this year's preseason opener for the Fever on May 3rd, and she sat out due to left leg stiffness. Caitlin is very aware that many people travel far, spend lots of money, and this potentially could be the only game they can see her play. So she's made it known if she's able to play, she is going to be out there for the fans. And I really respect that about her. I just hope she didn't try to come into the regular season too quickly, because the leg she has injured now is also the left leg. So it's got to be a lingering issue or something that's gotten worse from the preseason. All we can hope for is a speedy recovery, but that she really takes the time she needs to fully get better.
So, what can the WNBA do? First, they must enforce the rules firmly. Targeting should be a cardinal sin with severe penalties. Second, investing in comprehensive player safety protocols is essential, and they need to actually listen when players speak up about being targeted or hurt. Third, they should focus on marketing their stars while ensuring their safety, not just when players are sidelined with ice packs. The alternative? Watching viewership plummet faster than a lead balloon and sponsors bolt faster than a bad Tinder date. Nothing kills hype more than seeing your star sidelined by cheap, dirty plays that go unpunished. It's ironic. While the league touts progress and empowerment, it's allowing its biggest star to be worn down. If the league truly cared about growth, protecting Caitlin Clark like the crown jewel she is would be the obvious move. Otherwise, they're just running an expensive, high-stakes game of dodgeball, with Clark as the unwitting target. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.